Hey guys, this is part 2 of the factoring applications video. So in the last video we looked at consecutive integers. In this video we're going to kind of look at everything else. So we're only going to do example 2 and 3 in this one. Example 4 I'm going to get set up for you, but I'm not going to take the time to go all the way through it because it looks just like example 2. So example 2 says one number is 2 more than another. The difference between their squares is 32. What are the numbers? Okay, so first I'm going to try and translate from words to math. So I have one number and another number. So I like to set up pictures. So here is the first number. Here is the second number. I just have two numbers going. I don't know what they are. I will solve them eventually. So one number and another number. Well, it says that one number is 2 more than the other. Well, if you guys think back to your Math 101, 2 more than means that I'm going to take it and add 2. So one number is x plus 2. Well, if it's 2 more than the other number, then the other number must be x. So I have x plus 2 because it's 2 more and x. That's just the first sentence. The second sentence says their difference between their squares is 32. So I've got a couple of words in here. The difference between their squares. Well, difference means subtraction. And between their squares, well, squares means power of 2. Or exponent of 2. Okay, so I'm going to take these two numbers. Now, because I'm doing subtraction, I do want to do the big number minus the small number. And because x plus 2 is 2 bigger than x, we're going to say that x plus 2 is the bigger number and x is the smaller number. Now from here, I need to take care of this second sentence where it says the difference between their squares is 32. Okay, well the difference, we said difference means subtraction. The difference between their squares. Well, squares means that I'm going to put both of these to the power of 2. So the difference between their squares, and then of course is means equals 32. Now from here, this one is a little tricky because you may think, oh well, I'll just distribute the squared. Can't distribute. Anytime you have something that looks like this, x plus 2 squared, I have to work off to the side and actually FOIL that thing. So I'm going to FOIL x plus 2 times x plus 2. So I'll have first x times x is x squared, outer 2x, inner 2x, and last 4. So I just did that. Oops, I got my things off. There we go. First, outer, inner, last. So I've got x squared, combine like terms. Now that thing is going to go where that was. So I'm going to replace that thing with x squared plus 4x plus 4. That is all that piece. Carry everything else down. Minus x squared. And then, of course, equals 32. Now it's going to be a matter of combine like terms. Well, x squared minus x squared is actually going to cancel. And so I'll have this. Because the x squareds went away, I no longer have to factor. I can only factor x squared. So now this turns into just a linear equation. And so I'm going to finish solving this thing out like I would a normal linear equation. Cancel, cancel. I've got x equals 7. Now my answer is what are the numbers? So x equals 7. Well, the second one was 7, which means the first number is going to be 2 bigger than 7, and so the first number is going to be 9. So you'll have 9 and 7. And in Hawks, it will say the bigger number, the smaller number, so you would, of course, type that one in for the bigger number and that one in for the smaller number. But those are your two answers. All right, example 3, the last one that we're going to actually do in the video. The length of the rectangle is 8 more than the width. The area is 65 square centimeters. Find the length and the width. All right, well, as I'm reading this, I see that it says length of a rectangle. So I'm going to draw a rectangle on my paper. The length of the rectangle, well, this side is the length. That is the length. The length of the rectangle is 8 more than the width. Well, there's your width. Okay, so what that says is the width is my W, or X, whatever you want to call it. The length is 8 more than that, so it's going to be W, the width, plus 8. And so I've got the width is W, and it told me in the question that the length was 8 more than the width, so I've got 8 more than is plus 8. Second sentence says the area is 65 square centimeters. So area formula of a rectangle is length times width, and that equals 65 in my example. So I've got length times width, and now I'm just going to fill in my numbers. The length for mine is W plus 8, and then the width, of course, is just W. And now it's going to look kind of similar to what we did before. I'm going to distribute. This time I'm distributing kind of backwards. I've got W times W, so I'll have W squared. W times 8, 8W equals 65. I'm going to get that thing equal to 0. And then I will factor it. So you're going to list off all your factors of 65. Find the two that multiply to 65 and add to positive 8. Well, because this thing is negative, because this is negative 65, I'm going to have opposite signs. And so the two numbers I will use are negative 5 and positive 13, which you'll plug them in. You'll do factor by grouping, which is the rainbow method. And so you'll have W minus 5 and W plus 13 will be what you get when you factor it. Now, because I'm solving, I'm going to set each piece equal to 0. And then I will solve this thing. And so those are the two answers I get. Now, let's think back. My question says to find the length and width. Well, W, I only found the width, but I can't have negative width. So I'm actually going to throw out this answer because I can't have negative 13 centimeters. So my width will be 5, and then of course they wanted me to find the length as well. Well, the first sentence says that the length is the width, 5, plus 8, and so I'll end up with a positive 13, and that will be my length. So your final answer would be the width equals 5, and the length equals 13. All right, the last one, I just want to get it set up, and then the numbers are really big. So because this is a bonus section, you can go through, and I expect that you will work this out if necessary. One positive integer is 3 less than twice another. The sum of their squares is 698. Okay, so I've got two numbers again. I've got one number and another number. one positive integer, okay, so that just tells me I've got one is, we're going to call x, is 3 less than twice another. Okay, so 3 less than means that I'm going to subtract 3. Now I do have, that's one of those, oh, that's bad. It's a turnaround word if you had me for Math 101, which just means that you're going to have to flip that order. Twice another. Well, twice means that I'm going to take it and multiply by 2. So I've got 2x minus 3. Those are my two numbers. And then the last sentence says the sum of their squares is 698. So I'm going to have these two numbers, x and 2x minus 3. The sum of their squares, so sum meaning addition of their squares is 698. Alright, so where you're going to go from here is you're going to have to FOIL 2x minus 3 squared to be 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3. You're going to FOIL that thing out, and then you're going to take that number, which ends up being 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. You're going to stick it in there, carry everything down. Now it's a combined like terms, and so I'll have 5x squared minus 12x plus 9 equals 698. I've got to get it equal to 0, so I'm going to move this thing over, and I'll have 5x squared minus 12x minus 689. Now this is what I'm going to factor. I know the numbers are really big, which is why this is a bonus. And so I'm telling you, once you factor it, you will have 5x plus 53 and x minus 13 will be your factored form. You'll set each piece equal to 0 and get x equals 13 when you solve that one, and x equals negative 53 over 5 when you solve that one. Now again, just like before, I need to check my answers. This says that one positive integer is 3 less than twice another. So because it says positive integer, I'm actually going to toss that one out. And so my answer is x equals 13. The other number is going to be 2x, which is 13 minus 3. So I'm plugging it in right there. And then I will have my two numbers will be 23 and 13 will be my two answers.